I'm kind of late with this one. I had already finished reading His Fifth Highness Still Doesn't Know several days ago. This one is a shorter one volume story. The story starts with Jing Feirong, who is the fifth child of the Dragon Clan, and he is upset because his father, the Heavenly Emperor, is forcing him into an arranged marriage, and he is supposed to get married to the extremely beautiful primordial god Chu Yangchuan. These characters are thousands of years old, but there is an age gap between Jing Feirong and Chu Yangchuan. Jing Feirong is 7,000 years old at the start of the story, while Chu Yangchuan is tens of thousands of years old. Jing Feirong is also a crybaby, and he will throw a tantrum whenever something doesn't go his way or something happens that he doesn't like, which is how the story starts. He is threatening to throw himself off of the celestial execution platform, and his father calls him on this bluff and tells him to do it, knowing that he never actually intended to go through with it. But he was a jerk about it because he told the guards to go ahead and help Jin Feirong out. Jing Feirong is kind of shocked that his dad would do this and tells him that maybe they should talk about this. He ends up slipping and has to hang on to the edge of the cliff so that he doesn't fall. And while he's holding on to the edge of the cliff, his dad just looks down at him with indifference before he leaves with everybody. And all of this happened at sunrise, like the very beginning of the day. And he doesn't let anyone pull Jin Feirong up until sunset. So he was just hanging there the entire day. And in the end, Jin Feirong ends up having to still marry Chu Yangchuan. But he is so upset that he skips the ceremony to go drinking, and his father has to send someone to go get him. Chu Yangchuan isn't upset about this though, and he even skips out early to go rest in Jin Feirong's bedchambers. This was an arranged marriage that Chu Yanchuan made with the Heavenly Emperor, so he doesn't take it seriously. Jin Feirong was taken by Chu Yanchuan's beauty when he first saw him, but he's still not happy about the fact that they are married. He ends up running out of his room and sleeping outside. And the next morning, Chu Yangchuan tells Jin Feirong that he will be leaving to go back to his own place, which makes Jin Feirong both happy and confused, because why did Chu Yangchuan agree to marry him if he was just going to leave? Chu Yangchuan tells him it's because he has admired Jin Feirong for a very long time, but Jin Feirong doesn't understand this and questions it because, as far as he knows, they have never met each other before. The Heavenly Emperor is upset that Chu Yangchuan has left and ordered Jin Feirong to bring him back. Jin Feirong isn't happy about this, but he doesn't want to deal with his father, so he thinks maybe he can strike a deal with Chu Yangchuan, especially since Chu Yangchuan claims that he likes him. That night, Chu Yangchuan returns to his room, but things don't go the way that he plans. They end up spending the night together, and Chu Yangchuan leaves soon afterwards. The next day, the Heavenly Emperor and Jin Feirong have a conversation about this, and before he could really get scolded by his father, they both notice that there is a mark on Jin Feirong's hand that he didn't have before. Jin Feirong doesn't know what this mark is, but the Heavenly Emperor does. However, he doesn't explain anything to Jin Feirong, as Jin Feirong is just completely in the dark about the plan that the Heavenly Emperor and Chu Yangchuan has, that he's involved in without his knowledge. Pretty much, Jin Feirong just believes everything that he's being told, and he doesn't know what they actually have planned for him. He later goes to find Chu Yangchuan, who lets him know that the mark is in fact a totem, and that once the totem is fully transferred to him, everything will fall into place. Jin Feirong asks him what exactly is the totem, and Chu Yangchuan lies and says that it is their child, to which Jin Feirong does completely believes and takes his word for it. And the only thing that he asks is why does he have to be the one to give birth? And he continues to believe that he is pregnant until he runs into his sister, who tells him the truth that the totem is used by primordial gods to suppress evil beings. She also tells him that Chu Yangchuan must really love him, and that is why he gave Jin Feirong the totem. Jin Feirong takes these words to heart and he eventually falls for Chu Yangchuan while believing that Chu Yangchuan loves him, but he is actually just being used and everyone knows except for him. But he does slowly start piecing things together. He's also trying to get answers to the questions that he has been asking for years about his other father, who was the one who gave birth to him and died when he was 2 months old. Jin Feirong was also given control of an area called the Desolate Marsh, which was done behind the Heavenly Emperor's back. But since Jin Feirong likes Chu Yangchuan, he decides to just trust him and believe everything that he's told. But behind his back, the Heavenly Emperor and Chu Yangchuan are just continuing with their own plans. And the Heavenly Emperor even tells Chu Yangchuan that he can divorce Jin Feirong once everything is in place. Chu Yangchuan ends up going into seclusion in his original form, which happens to be a tree. And this is a tree that Jin Feirong knows very well and has visited many times over the years that he's been alive. But he had no idea that this tree was actually Chu Yangchuan. Jin Feirong goes to the tree this time because he misses Chu Yangchuan. So he's just talking to his tree friend about Chu Yangchuan without knowing that it's actually him, and this makes Chu Yanchuan come out of seclusion, which makes Jin Feirong very happy, but their happiness doesn't last long as Chu Yanchuan asks for a divorce. Jin Feirong ends up confronting his father while he's upset about this and all of the lies that he's been told. His father gets very angry with him in return, and he has Jin Feirong flogged with 500 lashes. And as crappy as the Heavenly Emperor treats Jin Feirong, he does have a pretty good relationship with his siblings. So because of this, the Emperor ends up having one of his brothers bound by chains during Jin Feirong's punishment so that he wouldn't be able to interfere. And later on, when his eldest brother finds out what happens, he ends up raising his sword at their father. Also, around this time, Chu Yanchuan is breaking away from the plan that he had with the Heavenly Emperor and doesn't want to use Jin Feirong anymore. He visits Jin Feirong while he's injured to heal him and take back the totem. When Jin Feirong is healed enough, he goes to the marsh where he has visions slash illusions of the past about his deceased father, Yu Lingyun, and ends up finding out the truth about what happened almost 7,000 years ago when he was 2 months old. There is this sigil that is holding back a powerful demon, and it needed to be reinforced. And because of this, the Heavenly Emperor had tried to sacrifice Jin Feirong to the sigil to prevent it from breaking. However, Chu Yangchuan, Yu Lingyun, and Jin Feirong's eldest brother show up, and Yu Lingyun decides to sacrifice himself instead and save his son. This is also why the Heavenly Emperor does not have a good relationship with his eldest son, but also his eldest daughter. And as it turns out, he also erased the memories of his two other kids so that they don't remember Yu Linyun. Chu Yangchuan ends up showing up and he pulls Jin Feirong from these visions slash illusions, and he tells Jin Feirong more about what had happened in the past. Jin Feirong tells Chu Yanchuan that he won't agree to a divorce and he doesn't care if Chu Yanchuan doesn't love him back. He also plans to help Chu Yanchuan with his plans. Jin Feirong thinks that he is helping Chu Yangchuan and the others save Yu Lingyun, but Chu Yanchuan actually ends up sacrificing himself to put a stop to everything once and for all. Yu Lingyun's soul is saved, and with time, he will be able to come back. Jin Feirong's siblings who had had their memories erased ends up getting their memories back, and in the end, all of the siblings end up leaving the Heavenly Emperor to be by himself. And Jin Feirong, who is very badly injured, goes off on his own while he is heartbroken and in mourning. And after several hundred years, Yu Lingyun ends up coming back. However, he had lost most of his memories. he only really remembers Jin Feirong a little bit and Chu Yanchuan, who was his best friend. And as it turns out, just like with Yu Lingyun, a part of Chu Yanchuan survived, and if nurtured, he will be able to come back. Yu Lingyun is watching over his friend's soul, and he gets the Heavenly Emperor who wants Yu Lingyun back to help him with this. And this is a secret that is kept from Jin Feirong. In this time, Jin Feirong continues to visit the tree that he now knows was Chu Yanchuan, until one day, after several more years, Chu Yanchuan appears alive and well, but without his memories. This does upset Jin Feirong, but he is also happy that Chu Yangchuan is alive, and he takes care of him while they are both trying to recover their cultivation. During this, Chu Yangchuan does seem to like and care for Jin Feirong, and by the end of this story, he does recover his memories, and he and Jin Feirong happily continue to live their lives together, which is shown in the few side stories after the main story ends. I do think overall that this was a good story. However, it did feel rushed, and there are some pretty big time skips in between events, but it was definitely an interesting story in my opinion. At least I found it to be interesting and enjoyable.